Chief, I think I mentioned at the hearing last year when we had the 2014 budget in front of us that I said it felt a little bit like Groundhog's Day. Well, I'm back at Groundhog's Day all over again. Every year, you and I have this conversation. You commit to working with me to improve the timber sale program and permitting for other multiple use activities on the Tongass. And then we move to the next year, and we're having the same conversation about really why things have not improved. And again, we're just facing the same thing today. Despite repeated pledges from the Forest Service to increase timber harvest levels, we continue to steadily march towards losing what remains of that timber industry in Southeast Alaska. Our 2013 timber harvest numbers did improve a little bit to 36 million board feet compared to 21 the year before. But you and I both know, Chief, that is well below the allowable sales quantity of 267 million board feet. It's far short of what your own economists say that the market demand is in Southeast, or what it takes to sustain any kind of a viable forest products industry within the region. I'm trying to look on the positive side. I'm trying to find some hopeful signs here that we might be turning the corner. But it seems like every time there's something out there, we run up against a roadblock. Great example, of course, is the Big Thorn sale. We've been talking about the Big Thorn sale. It was supposed to be bringing in 150 million board feet. This was the sale that everybody was counting on. The sale that your agency said was going to be absolutely necessary. It was going to be critical to making the transition to second growth that you keep talking about in the Tongass. Everybody knew that the Big Thorn was what was going to be able to help us piece it together. But what's happened to it? It's been on hold since September of last year. I hope you'll have a little bit of an update for me this morning on when we might see this critical sale offered. Every year, I bring up the situation with the roadless rural exemption. On the 26th of March, the Ninth Circuit upheld the roadless rural exemption for the Tongass. I know that this administration sure did not defend the exemption. Alaska, my state, had to take it on itself. I'm glad we did. I also know that this is not the end in the courts. So again, I think you're going to hear in my questions this morning a great deal of concern about what's going on within the Tongass, the impact of the roadless rule, how the ruling will affect management actions. In my view, I hope we're going to see a balance restored with respect to the conservation and economic development there. Now, with regards to the budget and the chairman's comments here this morning, once again, you're proposing to consolidate several line items into one big pot called Integrated Resource Restoration. We talk about this again also every year. And I am sympathetic to the Forest Service desire to improve efficiencies, but until we can really see some concrete results from these 3 pilot programs, I just can't support making this program permanent across the agencies. You've got a multiple use mandate there at the Forest Service, and one of the most important ways that we have here in Congress to ensure that you are following this mandate is having a budget that shows where and how much the agency is spending on activities that we here in Congress believe are important. So whether it's for timber, whether it's for recreation, habitat improvement, whatever it is, we can't sacrifice our oversight role solely for the sake of efficiency. And again, I say this every year. The chairman speaks to the issue of fire borrowing. When we look to ways that we can improve financial management at the Forest Service, really one of those ways is how we deal with the fire borrowing situation, which disrupts important programs by effectively robbing Peter to pay Paul until an undetermined date in the future. I think it's a bad way to budget, a bad way to manage important programs. I do share the goal of the proposed fire cap adjustment, but I am concerned whether in its current form it's the most fiscally responsible way to proceed. I do think that the administration's proposal is a good starting point for discussing how we deal with fire borrowing, but I think that the committee, OMB, and the firefighting agencies need to work together to reach a resolution that not only fixes the problem, but is also politically tenable in the current fiscally constrained environment. So we need to be working together on this to find a workable solution. There are many other important issues we need to work on, like how to effectively modernize our air tanker fleet, promote fire-adapted communities, and meet our obligations to communities that are dependent upon our national forests for economic survival. So I look forward to hearing your comments this morning, some updates, and then the questions and answers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.